So I was just looking at this picture of Harry and Meghan in an article in Le Figaro, which is a French paper. And and I just thought to myself, my goodness, will they ever forgive this girl? Will they ever forgive Meghan? Just in general, not this paper, but just everybody, all of them, all of these people, just trying to take a chunk of her flesh, will they ever forgive her? I mean, Meghan remains after what, 8 years of, you know, coming out as Harry's girlfriend, a lightning rod for media vitriol. I mean, years after stepping back from royal duties alongside her husband, Prince Harry, she continues to be the center of just this negativity for these people. The persistent attacks against this young woman raise a troubling question. What has Meghan done to warrant this unrelenting hostility, this unstopping hatred? What can she do to make them stop? Is there anything? The answers, I think, are baffling, and it's a very unsettling thing to have to ponder. I think that Meghan, she dared to challenge the status quo. She spoke her truth about the racism and mistreatment she was enduring behind closed doors, right? And for some people, she should have kept that behind closed doors. Maybe she should have. Maybe she shouldn't have. I don't know. I mean, I'm not her. I think she was very brave to speak about it and to speak up about it and to not sit there and let that become normal, right? For a lot of people, what goes on behind closed doors, whatever it is, stays behind closed doors. And for some people, it stays there forever. Others, they may come out 50 years later, then we're all looking at them saying, well, why didn't you talk about this when you were 10? Haven't I myself raised those questions in some different contexts, you know? Um, because we're so conditioned to, especially when it comes to family, to keep certain things hidden and not talk about it. And so she spoke up about it. She dared to speak up about it, and she didn't keep it behind closed doors because she valued herself more. She valued her sanity. She valued her peace. She valued her mental health more than remaining silent, right? She refused to be silenced or subjugated by an institution. They wanted her on bended knee. And it's funny because I think in Spare, Harry spoke about that. They want him on bended knee too. William wanted Harry constantly, you know, kneeling before him, and they wanted to impose this on Meghan as well. And this is not Meghan's culture. Meghan is used to being, I think I can say, at least for now, a free woman in where she was born in the United States. I mean, we don't know what the future holds, but I mean, up until that point, she was free, to just be in the world. Now you want her genuflecting and curtsying to people who are not even on her level in so many different ways, right? So she refused to be silenced. She refused to be subjugated by an institution that she felt was complicit in her suffering. And she literally used that word, you are complicit. And when she said that, I knew who and what she was referring to. It wasn't just the usual suspects, it went even higher up the chain of command of the British royal family and that whole institution. They were all complicit in her suffering. And she said it. Why did she say it? Because she wasn't 19, she wasn't Princess Diana. She wasn't 22. She was a grown woman. She had had a life. She had suffered already to get her own career. She was self-made. She knew her worth, right? And she refused to settle for anything less than what she knew she was worth, right? They want to come in and pay her $2 or €2 or £2 for her 1,000 pound Gucci bag. or something like that, right? And she's like, excuse me? Excuse me? Excuse you, darling. No, I'm not having it, right? On top of that, Meghan got her prince, right? And she built a family and she laughed and she succeeded. She didn't come back with her tail between her legs begging for money, right? And neither did her husband. They went out and they succeeded and they pursued and continue to pursue their ambitions, right? And to just blossom in the midst of all of this vitriol and hatred. They continue to bloom like two beautiful roses in a desert. It's like amazing, right? And so for this, she has been vilified. I mean, even more than Harry, because they don't have a problem with Harry succeeding. They have a problem with Meghan succeeding, right? That's really what they have the problem with. The animosity towards Meghan is steeped in entrenched biases. And you'd be surprised, it's not just racial bias, it's all kinds of different biases. But for sure, to some, she represents everything the monarchy should exclude. She's biracial, okay? She's American. She's a divorcee. And she's a self-made woman who knows her worth. I mean, she's self-made and she knows her worth. She's not sitting there asking, am I okay? Is my hair okay? Am I okay? Am I acceptable? Am I likable? Can I come in? Can I sit at the table with you? No, she doesn't ask these things. She knows her worth. And these qualities, which are celebrated in some circles, right, are weaponized against her by those who see her as an outsider who dared to breach royal tradition, or even some, I've heard her called uppity. That's a term they use for get back in your cage, you little black thing. you know, so they call her uppity, right? The narrative persists even when Meghan takes a step back from the public eye. You don't see her for weeks, months, whatever. She's still the heavy. Whether she's raising her children or supporting charitable causes, the UK tabloids and their global offshoots find ways to drag her name into the mud. More disturbingly, the attacks often extend to her loved ones. Her mother, Doria Ragland, you don't see this woman. They'll dig something up, or her young children are targeted. Her estranged half sister, known for her public outbursts, is bizarrely positioned as the victim, despite allegations suggesting that her isolation at age 60 is self inflicted. Apparently, her own blood daughters, this is the half sister of the Duchess of Sussex, has children who want nothing to do with her. And somehow that is Meghan's fault. I mean, go figure, right? Even Meghan's marriage is incessantly scrutinized. If she's with her husband, he's her spare. If she's not with her husband, she's getting a divorce, or he's detaching from her, or she's keeping him from reconciling with his family who clearly want nothing to do with him, because even when he goes to the UK without her, they don't even make time to see him. But yet this is all Meghan's fault. These baseless rumors aimed at sowing discord in Meghan's and Harry's marriage is something that, I don't even know what to say about it. It's so absurd, but so evil also at the same time, right? I mean, some of these critics, they go to the most absurd lengths, blaming Meghan for issues that predate her existence, such as scandals within the Church of England. At the same time, the head of the Church of England, who is King Charles, his name is nowhere to be found in the discourse. But Meghan, who lives in Montecito, California, who had nothing to do with this, who wasn't even born when this happened, somehow tangentially, she's responsible, right? The underlying message of all of this is that Meghan, a modern woman of mixed heritage, was never deemed worthy of marrying into the royal family, and they will never let her forget it, and they will never stop punishing her for it. So will they ever forgive Meghan? This was the question of this video. Perhaps forgiveness is the wrong word. What she seeks isn't forgiveness and absolution, but the right to live peacefully and authentically. Whether the media and public can grant her that remains a question of whether we value as a species, really, compassion over prejudice and bias, right? And whether we value truth over manufactured narratives, whether we value authenticity, right, over lies, right, and pretexts. But anyway, you guys, that's all for this one. See you in the next one. Definitely subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Hit the thumbs up and notification